Hi, I'm Gary, and I just got here. Uh, as you guys can see from the title and the box I got here, I picked up the ready to fly version of the HobbyZone Aeroscout 1.1 meter, and I kept hinting all week long that I was gonna put, put together this airplane that I'm hoping to bring it some other people onto the channel. So what I plan on doing is training a few of my friends how to fly, and maybe my son. And I know this I don't know how many of you guys know it, but this airplane doesn't require a whole lot of build, so I don't expect it to take very long. But I wanted to do the live unboxing along with the build, just so you guys can see exactly what's in the ready to fly version. And yeah, we got quite a few people hopped on already. I do appreciate it. I see that Gary and Rag Girl and Kevin and Dave and Michael Bainey and Tony Burt. Appreciate all you guys hopping on. I see the uh, Matt J or Matt Jenkins has hopped on. I appreciate it, man. And yeah, I appreciate everybody's support on this channel. It's just been so much fun uh, getting out and flying all the time and all that kind of stuff. So guys, please let me know in the chat if you guys see any kind of issues with the stream. I'm going to try to make it so I can read what you guys are saying just a little better. That is not it. All right, so we'll stick with this. And right, the other Gary. So it's always awesome to see everybody talking with each other on the chat, and I do appreciate it. And I guys just keep up the wonderful job you guys all do. Anyways, first thing I did, because I've seen people struggle with pulling that styrofoam out of the box, I went ahead and pulled it out. So this is just an empty box, and I got it sitting back here on the chair. But first thing I wanted to show you guys is there's two different manuals that come in the box. You get the full on manual. I'm sure it's got several different languages. There's some safety warning stuff in there. And then there's a quick manual. And this one is super simple. It's got the front and the back of the sheet, and that is it. You should be able to get this thing in the air just with those two pages. Super simple. Any beginner should be able to handle this. And but let's get into the box. Let's see what all's in here. You gotta be a little bit careful with the box because I noticed one thing. Most everything is taped in really good. The box was helping light things up, it looks like. Anyways, as you can see here, this piece right here that's covering the radio was just loose. So got to be a little bit careful when you're opening this up. If you did it upside down, I think the radio could potentially slide right out of there. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it out of there, just like that. And it's a DXE, and gimbals feel pretty decent. On my DX uh, IX12, on my IX12 and my DX9, I think both of them have kind of a clicky on here on the resolution of the throttle. This one's just smooth. And I don't know if there's an adjustment for that or if it matters to anybody, but I just wanted to let you know everything else feels about the same. It does have a few different switches on here. We got the rates for high and low rates. We also have up here arm and disarm uh, for throttle hold. And then up here is the flight modes because this airplane does have safe, and a bind switch or trainer button. So you got all that on this radio. So that's kind of handy. Oh, crashed two planes. Yeah, you got a long ways to keep up with me. I crash all the time, it seems like. Um, you just gotta learn how to fix them, I guess. We'll just start in this corner right here. Here's the AA batteries that come in. If I didn't say it already, this is the ready to fly. So everything in the box should have you ready to get in the air. So here's the AA batteries you put in the transmitter. Here's the Smart 2200 3S battery. It's a 30C cell, and it's a smart battery. This is what you need to power the plane up, and we're going to get to it. But there's a charger in here for this, and I haven't used a smart charger yet, but it is supposed to be super simple. Plug it in and go type of thing. I don't know if you guys seen that good or not, but there it is. And then let's see what we got here. This does not say, so we're gonna have to open it up. And I did bring a little craft knife. There we go. All right, this is the charger that's included. Very simple, nothing to it. We're gonna plug in the battery terminal here, and this is the balance plug. Is gonna plug in right there, and then on the back is the USB connection, and uh, it is the newer version of the micro USB. Forget what they call that, micro USB C or something like that. I don't know. But then you just got to plug it into a USB plug. It may not have come with that. That might be the one thing it didn't come with. But these days, just about everywhere, there's a plug to plug in. All right. Wow. So I grabbed tools because I was kind of glancing through the manual. I grabbed some tools because I wasn't sure what I would need to put this thing together. I got a screwdriver and I got some Allen wrenches. So you don't need any tools. So the screws that are in here are thumb screws where you just spin them, and there's a little screwdriver here for the screws that you have to tighten. So goodness, there's a bind plug in here, some Velcro tape, and let's see, I'm gonna need the knife there. This is part of the elevator or horizontal stabilizer. And here's the other half of that. So two halves, of course. And we'll talk about that in a second. Here's part of the landing gear. We'll get that open in a second. I got to cut it open, it looks like. This looks like the nose wheel. Nice and big, too, I'm going to tell you. Love the way the landing gear on this thing looks. Here's the other side of the landing gear. Here's one of the, or both of the wing tubes. So there's gonna have to cut the tape to get that out. So grab the knife over here. Want to be careful not to cut any parts of the airplane, of course. There you go. There's half of the wing. And then I'll cut right here. There's the other half of the wing. And it looks like all the linkage is already hooked up. Super simple. And then let's get this fuselage out. We need this block out of the way. There's that. Is that it? There's a little protective piece here. Looks like I can get a hold of it right there. And that is the last of what's in the box. Whoops. Here we go. So there's the fuselage. They got the AR-636 receiver right on top. It's going to go right below the wing. It's right here. Everything's already plugged in. So I should probably read the instructions before I yank on that. I wanted to take that off and see what the battery compartment looks like, but we'll stop right there. Trying to, yeah, USB-C, yep. Super simple build. Kevin Trappen must have one of these. What kind? Of course, I can't read it. Looks like he says M&Ms, but XKA 600. So my buddy uh, Gary, or I can't remember what he, K9. I know he has one of these, and I've flown it. And almost a year ago, at Horizon Hobbies uh, uh, RC Fest that they have in Illinois at Eli Field, they had a demo. They had demos for almost everything. You could drive cars, boats, and they had this there to fly the airplane. And they even had a drone cage like inside. But they let me, they had it there and they had somebody buddy boxing for most people. But I showed up, me and Dastardly Dave showed up, and they let me do a full on uh, quick review with it, and I was so impressed with how well this thing flew. And so anytime anybody asks me about airplanes now, I've been telling them this has got to be the one to go get. It's incredible. The landing gear, how big it is just amazing. How well, because they had it taken off basically in the corner of a cornfield, and it didn't have any trouble rolling through that really rough terrain. I was super impressed. Um, so yeah, we did it live. There's a few hiccups in it, but to this day, that is my most viewed uh, video, and it's because I was the first one to have a review video other than Horizon Hobby. So Google was showing everybody my video and all that kind of stuff. So it, it's kind of amazing that I got one that has that many views. And if you guys follow me on Instagram or Facebook, uh, I just got a new, uh, just completed a new goal. I had achieved 50,000 views on my videos, so I can't believe it. Um, I have got, I've also got out 500 videos, so uh, it's been it's been a crazy year, and I've been trying to work real hard to build this into something people really are interested in seeing. So uh, having support from all you guys here on YouTube is just amazing, and that's what really keeps me going. My love for the hobby and people wanting to see it. So let's see what we can do about building this thing. I got the instructions pulled up on the internet, and the first step is to slide the landing gear in. So I need to unbag this stuff, grab my glasses so I don't cut my finger, and just need to get this bag open. There's one side, and it looks symmetrical, so I'm thinking they're both going to be exactly the same. It doesn't say that it matters which goes where, so it has to be the same. So we're gonna take, oh, there the battery cover just popped off when I tried to pick it up. Looks super. So it's saying you just slide this thing in until they lock in. Now, I don't know if you guys could see that, but I picked it up and I put the landing gear. That's not going to work if the wheels are up higher than the bottom of the airplane. So just going to push them in until it locks in, it says. Well, there we go. Hey, pretty simple. And then we'll just push this side in. Yep, it's locked in. And then it says this nose gear is just going to go, um, it says insert the nose gear into the wheel collar as shown and tighten the set screw, which is already in here in the nose. So you would need to make sure the flat side, so I don't know if you guys will be able to see it okay or not, but well, probably not. But on the shaft, there's a flat side. You need to make sure that's facing the set screw when you put it in here. So we'll slide it down in there. It's going to want to be straight, obviously. So, and it's going to kind of lock onto that flat edge. Probably could put some Loctite on this set screw, make sure it doesn't loosen up. But this will be all right for the build video. They don't tell you to do it, so we'll follow the instructions and install the horizontal stabilizer. So this is these little, the elevators or horizontal stabilizers are all one piece. There's no hinge line in this. Here we go. And it's going to take the small tube out of here. I'm going to need to cut that. Good thing I still got my readers on. This is loosening up. I miss my buddies being down here with me. So Rob is just down the street, but with the COVID, I didn't ask him to come down here to read your guys' comments to me. So I have 40 acres. 40 acres would be pretty awesome to have to fly around. I'd settle with maybe 5. Probably do it with 5. Pretty easy. But so it says insert the tube through the hole in the vertical tail of the fuselage as shown. So it just shows you pushing this thing in here. It's just square. So we're just going to slide it right in. I don't want to push too hard. It feels like it stopped. So I think that's it. It says make sure the decals are on the top. So let's get the airplane flipped over. Just like this. We've got the landing gear on there for it to set on already. And so there's one. And then it has to go through the thing that's going to make it move up and down. And it's just a square opening, so that's why I'm just struggling because I got a shadow right now. And there we go. Boy, it's a little bit tight. It says it's pressure fit. Let's see. Press the stabilizer halves together until they're both fully seated on the tube. And there's just a small gap between the stabilizers and the fuselage. So, Gary, K9 Gary, are you still on here? Was this really tight when you pushed it into the fuselage? There, it's kind of getting a little easier. I just don't want to bend it. don't want to pull on it because I'm afraid I'm going to pull the whole thing off. Well, one nice thing is I didn't have it all the way on to the horizontal stabilizer, so I'm, I'm also afraid that if I push really hard, it's gonna punch through or something. So that's something to think about. So yeah, let me open this up to the full view. So you can see I'm pushing the rod through, but it got really tight when I got to right about there, and I'm having trouble getting it on because it should just have a little small gap, and so I'm trying to push it without flexing this too much. There we go. It's getting there. Let's stop there and see what I got. I'll start pushing this side on. This side's sliding on real easy. And so that went all the way up against the fuselage, so I still have, let's see if I can show that to you. If I can get a little light on it, there's still a little bit of gap on this side. So I need to push it on a little tighter because this side's clear against the fuselage. I'm supporting it at the bottom with my fingers as I actually, yeah, let's do it from right there because the black part is a strengthening piece of this, I can tell. All right. It's so all right. So both sides push clean up against the fuselage. So I'm going to leave it like that for now, and then we might have to pull out on them just a hair to if it's acting like it's binding up. But I notice now that the horizontals are on there. It's enough weight to make the tail drop without the battery in the front of it. So yeah, smidge more. All right, so that step's done. Move on to the next page, and it's about uh, putting on the wing. So we got the wing out here. I got all these plastic bags I need to get out of my way. And then when I flipped it upside down, the connections for the wing kind of slid out. That's all right. I was kind of wondering if I was going to have to tug on those. But here's the tube for the wing. I don't know if you guys can see that all right. It's square too. And it's saying slide the carbon fiber wing spar fully into a wing panel as shown. So they put, when it came out of the box, the connector for the servo was shoved into the hole. You want to make sure that's not in there when you're putting this tube in there, obviously. Well, that was real easy. Slid right in there. And then next step, make sure the servo lead exits through the slot in the bottom of the wing. Super easy right there. And the reason they say that is when I slide this other one on, you don't want to get it pinched between the wings. Then slide the opposite wing panel over the wing spar until the root of the wing panels are tight and the rear mounting hole is correctly aligned. And the same thing with this side. They've got that servo wire shoved into the hole that you need to put the spar into. So you want to make sure it's in. There's a little groove right there that you need that wire coming down through there. And then when you slide these together, and it's most important when you just about have it completely together, make sure that you get them situated like that. We're going to just hold this one with this hand, and then I'm going to pull this one a little bit snug on that side, and then slide it together. And there we go. And then you couldn't see it too well, but this hole for the screw that's going to hold it on here, it had a gap where one was above the other one, so that one screw goes through both to hold it together. And then of course all these screws up here are going to go in and hold it all together too. So there's that part. Now we got a fully assembled wing. So let's go back to the manual, see what the next step is. All right. Now it's saying to connect the aileron servo leads to the Y harness. And it's not saying that there's an issue with one or the other. So it must be a Y harness. Did it say that? Yes, Y harness. So uh, since it says it's a Y harness, gets the same direction from the receiver to both of them. So when we plug this in, doesn't matter which one because it's going to tell them both the same thing. So let's go ahead and you can lift that up out of there to make it just a little bit easier. And then I'm going to tilt this upside down right here. Lift these up here. And some people will put a little tape on here, or I've even seen some people put some glue. Um, just remember, if you're going to do something like that, uh, that means you're not going to be taking the wing off, to transport, unless you just pick it up this far and kind of like lean it sideways next to it in your car, because you're not going to be able to pull those apart easily. But that's all there is to that. It's got a nice spot there for them to sit in. You just want to make sure all your wires are down in there nicely. And it's saying to put the wing on next. And I believe that's because this receiver is already bound up to the transmitter. If we needed to bind it up, then you would have to be able to get that bind plug on the receiver first. But since they're not telling us anything about doing that, and they're saying go ahead and put the wing on, we'll go ahead and do it. And these little thumb screws, pretty interesting. They do have a spot in the top that's Phillips head, but it's got little knobs that you can just twist. And so you just get it lined up. We'll start with the middle one here. Just get it lined up with where it's going to screw down in there. Just like that. And just twist it, and it goes down snug. And that's pretty handy. I wish they would have had that when I was learning to fly, because the airplanes that I learned on were a little bigger than this, and we always needed to take the wing off to transport it. And this sure would have been nice to be able to just have thumb screws to take the wing on and off with. That would have been real handy. Just like that. In fact, I'm not going to get it too tight, but I'll get them started. In case there is an issue with the binding, I can take that right back off. So then get the bind plug on there. But now I think it's pretty much built. Oh no, there's one more step, I think. Let's see what it shows. I see one more step. It is not telling me. Oh, look. So I talked too fast. So the bind plug is up under here. Let me show you guys what they show in the manual. So the next step here is they're showing the bind plug, but it's up in the battery compartment. So let me pull this off. I see the battery connection, and there's a bind plug. So that's pretty handy. So I don't know how good I can show this, but I'll try. So right here in the battery compartment is the little plug hanging down. And then here's where you hook your battery in. And they already got Velcro in there and the strap. So that's pretty awesome. And Let the ready to fly model is bound to the aircraft at the factory. So right here, it says it's already done. So we don't have to do that. It's just showing that it's available there if you were going to bind it up to like my X12 or something. So we don't have to do that. We got the transmitter here. And I want to go ahead and throw the batteries in the transmitter. And that's for the binding process. We don't want to do that quite yet. I missed it, and maybe it was ahead of what I already did. Let's jump up here. Here it is. Wanted to put the batteries in the transmitter. Skipped right over step on page 6. Well, I can show you guys the page 6 of the thing shows putting the batteries in. And that's what I'm doing now. We got snow again last night. It was so crazy. I don't know if we're ever going to get spring. It feels like it's every once in a while it's like, hey, it's nice out, and then it gets cold and we get snow. And today it's been really cold rain, and I'm glad I was doing this, and that's why I decided to do it today. And obviously, when you put these, you guys probably don't need this direction, but you want to put the flat side of these double A's against the springs. When you put them in there, it shows that the negative and positives on the picture. It's pretty obvious, but I just wanted to say it. There we go. And then just put the back on the transmitter again. They do have a little piece of foam in there that's making it pretty snug, but it's there, it's hooked up, and it's got a little light on the transmitter right there. It lit up when I turned it on. It's got a little tone. There you go. You guys seen the light come on. It's got a little tone letting me know that it powered up. Now, of course, the flight battery is not completely charged up, but I'm assuming that it's at storage charge, which will be enough to make this come to life. So there we go. Before you do that, it tells you, and there it's doing its AS3X thing, setting up all the, but it tells you before plugging in the battery, you should have this, and I already had it there, but you should have it in disarm so that the motor doesn't speed up, because right now you see I can move the throttle up and down and it doesn't run up. But here we go. I got my surfaces, and in this mode, when I go left on the ailerons, the left aileron comes up, but in this mode it also works in a little bit of the rudder. So I can see, let's turn it this way so you guys see it. Oh, you can't see it. All right. So if I go left, you can see the rudder is moving with it. And if I go right, the right aileron comes up and the rudder moves to the right just a little bit. And then you see that the horizontal stabilizer, the whole thing's moving with the control. Let's see if it, is that rates or modes? Let's see, rates. So it's already in high rate. Not much change between high and low rates. Very little noticeable change there. And I got it in, there I can hear it moving. It's in, when it's in safe mode, I've seen people show that the way to really tell if the safe's working is when you got it all powered up, if you flip it upside down, the ailerons will go full one way or the other, trying to flip the airplane back over. And I can see that they've deflected all the way. And then when I get it flat again, they're straight. And if I go to the next level, this is AS3X, and I've seen some people recently on a video. They'll bind it up like this, and they'll think, okay, you know, I don't know how many of you have used AS3X, but usually the airplane, when you get down flying, you pick it up, you can hear all the control surfaces moving around. Well, when you first turn the airplane on like this, none of them do anything. So you think the AS3X isn't working, but what happens is you got to run up the throttle first before AS3X kicks in. So I don't know if with it, yeah, with so I have to run the throttle with the motor on just a little bit, and now I can hear it buzzing. Not a lot happening there, but I can hear it doing it just a little bit now. So there's the rudder just working. Well, that's funny because so it's working. It's working. The rudder is working the ailerons a little bit. That's I didn't know it would do that, but there it's in safe. This would be AS3X, and then this should be nothing. So we'll turn the motor back off. And one thing that I do plan on doing, and I'm gonna go ahead and undo this. Don't want to leave the battery on. And the nice thing about these smart batteries, and you guys might even be getting tired of hearing it, but the smart batteries, when you charge them up, especially like a new pilot, will fly just a little bit and they'll get nervous and they'll land and they'll want to quit for the day, right? Well, the nice thing about a smart battery is when you get done with a short flight like that, it's still got way too much charge in it. And this has the ability, or it knows, to discharge itself back to storage charge. And you don't have to hook it up to your charger to do that. In fact, I don't think the included smart charger here has that ability. So that's one nice thing is it's going to do it on its own. And I'm excited about having some of these batteries. I have a 4S pack and now I got a 3S pack, and I'll be working on getting all these smart batteries. And I kind of hope other companies come out with the same technology on their batteries. Um, because there is plenty of times when I'll charge up I'll charge up 3 batteries, and I'll crash on the first battery, and then I got 2 that are charged up ready to go, and I usually, especially after crashing, I don't feel like messing around with it anymore, and I'll forget to discharge them. So if I had smart batteries, that would be nice. Um, so this airplane, I'm excited to get this in the air. I have a guy on the street. His name's Zach, and he is an actual airline pilot. And I haven't talked to him about this yet, but I'm hoping that he'll come out with me one of these days. Right now is not a good time, obviously, but I'm going to do some flight videos with this. We'll get it in the air tomorrow, and I'll fly it around, show you guys how nice this thing takes off and lands with some of this safe technology. And yeah, I mean that's about all I wanted to do for this video, is just show you guys how easy it was to build. Super excited about having it in the first place, and this thing is incredible. I've flown K9 Gary's, and I've flown the one at the thing, and I knew that it was going to be an awesome airplane to have to train somebody on how to fly. I keep saying I'm going to train my wife, she doesn't seem too interested. So I don't know if we're ever going to get her in the air, but um, I know my oldest son, he's flown this little airplane I've had on the channel. He's flown it, and he did it with almost no guidance at all. I mean, he just took off and flew it around and landed it all on his own. So we'll probably get him in the air with this. I'm gonna figure out how to get it buddy box to my IX-12. I'm not sure if how that. I have to look it up and figure it out, and I might explain it on a video one of these days. But until I know how to do it, I can't tell you guys how to do it. So, um, but I appreciate everybody on again today, man. It's I see Jermaine and the RC Sailors, and I if you guys, I put a link in my description box to buy this through Amazon. Um, But if you really want to do something nice, you hop over there. The RC Sailors had a video just recently, and they have a link. And I know that if you buy this airplane through their link, it's going to help them out. And we all need help that we can get, especially the people that are doing YouTube. And I mean, that's the whole one of the big goals is uh, supporting other YouTube channels, and we just have a good time with this. So I do appreciate everybody that gets on here and watches. I do all my RC fun stuff that I do, and I appreciate everybody's support. Um, did I miss anything anybody wanted to see about this airplane? Jeff in Lower Alabama, the Apprentice. That was the airplane to learn with for the longest time. I'm telling you what, I know that everybody in the club that I belong to in Urbana seemed to have one of those. Of course, I learned to fly way back. Um, nice. That's awesome, Kevin. I did too. By the way, I bought it through the link on RC Sailors channel. And uh, anyways, back to when I started, there was no any kind of smart technology. There wasn't gyros. There wasn't anything. And in fact, we used what you call an AM transmitter. Uh, there's different frequencies, AM and FM, and these are all digital, of course. But on the 4-channel AM transmitter, we had it in a high wing situation similar to this tricycle gear, but it was a front prop, and it seemed like I hit that prop on the ground all the time. So that's another huge benefit to this airplane is the prop is a pusher prop behind the fuselage, and kind of low. It's not even up high. It's down low enough that most of the time it isn't even going to be exposed if you flip this upside down. So that's a beautiful thing about this airplane is the prop is protected no matter how you were to land this thing. Um, and it seems very, very strong for what it is. So I'm excited to get this thing in the air. Yes, definitely. I, I there's been so many weekends that I've been wanting to go down and fly at the field at Tri-State Flyers. Joined that club down there the last time I was, or a while back when I was down there, and I just love flying at that field. It's so nice compared to what we have here in Ohio, and flying out of the parking lot of that church isn't too bad, but you still have some obstacles and things that you got to fly around, and being at a dedicated site for flying RC is so much nicer. And and if you can get together with some people that are really good friends, like the RC Sailors, there's some super great people, and I just love hanging out down there with those guys, and especially if we get to a group together like the Bainies and Dashley Dave and Gary K9 Gary, and even we've flown with Alan, and there's several people we've met up with down there and over in Indiana, and we just have a great time flying together. And I would love for some of the new guys that I've become friends with here on the channel we could get together like Jermaine and Kevin and Playing Crazy, everybody, all you guys, I feel like I know all of you. Jeff in Lower Alabama, I watch his videos. He's got the he's got a great flying spot there. It looks like it's in a park or something, but it's really wide open. He's got a great spot to fly, and he's in Alabama, so uh, the temperatures are a lot more accommodating to flying there than it is here. I mean, I think it's probably in the lower 40s right now here in Ohio, and I sure wish that we could get into the 70s and stay there, but it seems like we swing from 30, 40 degrees. It seems like it jumps straight to 85, 90, and then we're out in the sun sweating to death. RC party, nice. Yes, I and I'm looking so forward to being able to feel comfortable being around other people. Right now, it just with the whole scare of getting sick and at least there for a while, it didn't even seem like the doctors knew what to do to help people the way it they talked about it on the news. I really was having some anxiety issues at the beginning of all this. I'm starting to feel a little better, but I'm staying at home too, so that's probably got a lot to do with it. Um, Luckily for me, I can work from home. I I feel bad for the people that work in our manufacturing and they have to go into the building to actually build. Uh, we do the company I work for does do a product that's for the military, and so it is important that we continue making products. But um, it's still they've staggered shifts and moved people's desks apart and all kinds of stuff to try and protect everybody and make it safe. So we got to continue this stuff. I know they're talking about it lasting maybe a whole nother year. Um, Before we actually feel like it's normal again, and that's kind of depressing, but we'll get through this. My dad. Thanks, Frank. And my dad, yeah, my dad was super awesome. And if my dad was around, I wouldn't even have had to done what I just did. He built all of my airplanes for me, and he was really happy to do it. That's the part of this that he loved doing, and he would have everything loaded up in the car, and he like, let's go fly, son, and we go out there, and he would just watch me fly, and so and crash. You guys know I crash. Um, I would crash an airplane and break it, and then he would go home and fix it for me so I could fly it again the next weekend. So my dad was super awesome, and I really miss him. But uh, that's a nice thing about this hobby is it'll always remind me of him, and so that is one of the reasons I will never stop flying RC planes, and I love it so much. Real Flight 9, nice. So several of us do have Real Flight 9, and I've done some videos on that, and it is just a blast. In fact, when we get done with this, I'll probably do some. I got it all down here. Uh, I got my whole setup down here so I can do it. There's some guys that do like a 3D throwdown thing online on Friday nights, so I'll probably get on there and do that. Um, I'm not sure who there's. It seems like every night there's somebody that does a live stream, and there's a couple guys that do it here in a little bit. That's kind of why I threw this on so early. Is I want to make sure that I'm not overlapping any of the people that I know, and I like to watch their videos too. So I want to make sure I can get on there and watch what they're talking about today. It's kind of how I keep up with what's happening in RC, and all the people that are on here keep me well informed on what I need to know. And of course, I got to do shout outs to all my Patreon people. I do appreciate it. Uh, you guys are just amazing to me that people actually want to support my channel in that way and I do appreciate it so much. It's amazing. I got an airplane. You guys can't see it, but there's an airplane right back there that they've selected for me to build, and I'm off this next week. Our company is uh, allowed me to have unpaid leave this next week, and so I got the whole week off, and we'll be flying this airplane and a lot of airplanes this next week. I'm hoping the weather gets a little nicer. I can get the gasser out. Nice. Yeah, I'm getting ready to wrap this up anyways, but you have a great evening, Nate and Abby, whoever's watching. I'm always wondering who's watching when it says the RC Sailors. I think it's usually Nate because Abby has her own that she usually hops on, but um, it could be Abby. I don't know. But anyways, I do appreciate you guys, and we should have lots of videos coming this week. Maybe I'll do some straight up recording and do editing. I rarely do that. It's almost always live, and but I'm hoping to get the gasser out. I need to shift a bunch of stuff forward. I think I had it tail heavy. See if that'll make a difference. I have a tool to make sure the incidence between the wing and the horizontal stabilizers are nice and straight. Right now it's neat. Nice. And so I'm hoping to get the gasser in the air yet uh, yet this next week. A few times if I can get it flying right, man, we might see it a lot on the channel because I've had this thing 2-3 years now, and I've only got like 4 flights on it. I'm just, it's so, it feels like a lot of people don't like messing with the fuel powered because it's a lot of work. But after you get it locked in, the gas powered ones are so much fun. And in fact, I have a Cap 232 nitro powered that I crashed last summer at the RC Fest. But man, I flew that one a lot. I love flying that, and especially the bigger airplanes, um, they can handle the wind a little better. So, anyways, we're clear at the end of the time that I wanted to be on, and we got everything done, everything bound up, and everything worked right out of the box. Super excited. This thing's like 199, and it, I believe it's going to prove to be one of the greatest trainers they've come out with, and I can't wait to share this hobby with some other people, including my son and potentially my grandson. Uh, he's due in the next week or two, and I'm super excited about that. And you know, we'll see how it goes, but we start putting stickers on this, and it might have names like Troy on it, which happens to be the name they're giving my grandson and my dad's name. So I'm super excited about him coming along. And so if you guys like my videos, you know the drill. Hit the subscribe button. Go ahead and hit the notification bell. That way you guys know when I'm going live because I'm live all the time. And then if you don't mind, give me that thumbs up. I don't know how many of you has already done it, but you can hit that thumbs up right now. And uh, as always, you guys can leave comments down in the bottom. I always love reading the comments. And till next time, I'm Gary, and I just got here.